I mean, we're talking about war, so like, I mean, I know people have to police the conversation, and then to get to the heart of it. In some of these battles, like it's about violence, and I mean, you could try to be respectful and polite, but I mean, the reason we're talking about violence is because these things have already broken down. And then when you talk about violence, just it's coded in the language, words like riot, as opposed to protest or even violent protest or rebellion, revolution, and even power changes. So generally, I prefer talking about these things in morally neutral terminology, because everyone will judge the morals different. And I think, I mean, it's related to Ukraine that because you have the Ukraine, most people are supporting one side or the other. So you have just violence theory, and then people, well, you believe in just violence, and I just have a different view of morals. So now I'm fighting for what I think is just violence. So, God forbid, I see the situation. I wouldn't be surprised if the violence spreads, and we're going to see what happens in Ukraine. Like, I'm following your channel, appreciate the work. Uh, but God forbid you say coming soon to a town near you, and it would not surprise me. And that could be anywhere on the globe. So God bless.
Thank you, David. Boss.
Okay, just gonna say there is still a lot of white people in Europe. It's gonna take like more than 200 years before they need to start worrying that the Arab and black are coming to take over. Not gonna happen. We're not gonna be alive to see that. Not even your grandkids. White people still the minority in the world, but in Europe they're still the majority, and there is no way we're gonna take over. There is no way. So that's all I wanna say.
Thank you, Boss. Prata, closing
Well,
statement.
thank you. So we see some movements in Europe, which is, especially after the COVID, which is a new protest wave. It doesn't matter really which type of why the people are protesting. They just feel they have to protest. Somehow the political system we have in Europe are not answering to people's anxieties. And we see people on the streets, and a lot of people on the streets sometimes for the most common motives, which actually could be dealt with with politics, normal politics, but is not, because politicians are not representing people like they should. We had like Robert talking about how societies get very anxious about so many immigrants, and the governments, our governments, especially in the countries that are most affected by this unintegration, are the ones exactly asking for more immigrants to come, to create more instability, especially after the COVID, when we should have more stability in order to calm down society. But our politicians are really live in a completely new world. They are professional politicians. They never did anything in life. They were socialized inside of a political system, in their political party, in those amazing gatherings they do all the time, and they talk with each other, and they create this illusion: what is real reality? What's the people's problems? They don't understand. They live in a different world. They also live in different quarters of the cities, so they don't even see the problems everyday life. Are my sidewalks being repaired or not? They don't care. They just care about their gatherings where they will look good to the other ones that live in the same bubble. But you see, I do expect, well, David was saying about this kind of contagious in times of protest, and this is going to happen. We have all types of people coming and wanting to express their revolt. And it doesn't matter about if Mr. Lambert was talking. Okay, these guys want to steal. They wish things they will never be able to have, that they can't pay for it. But why do we have this? Why do we have people wishing to have things they can't have when they already live quite well? Because in Europe, we have a great living standard. Because there's something wrong in our societies, and we don't stop to listen to it, to see what is wrong. We just go faster and faster and faster, and we don't care. And nowadays, my neighbor, I don't even know my neighbor. I live in such a virtual world. that I create in internet, like me talking to you guys, probably we have more in common than what I have with my neighbor. And this is creating all kinds of frictions, of tensions. I was talking later about we living in all these circles, social constructs, and all the time living them, and they don't belong together, but we do that, and we create tension, and this tension needs to go out. So I also don't think we should realize certain developments in society like securities, because the human life, the social life is more unpredictable than what we see. There's also always something new coming, and Europeans will not disappear, I'm sure for that. And and Ukraine will also be solved, and many things will change. So sorry, guys, for talking so long. It was a pleasure to have you at this discussion today.
Thank you, Prata. Robert, your closing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I agree with Prata in many ways. I think it'll be a very interesting upcoming few years. I hope we all do well, and it's not like I have anything against anyone in particular or whatever, but I think we're all victims of our leading cabal. Our oligarchs are doing a bad job in ruling us, basically. But I think I have to go back to what our Pakistani friend was saying, is that it all begins and ends with the family. I think if we all focus on that, then we would all be in a much better place. So thanks.
Thank you, Robert. You see, you can achieve European Union here. Yeah. Okay, Forrest, you need to unmute first.